We are in the series of body and soul, and the connection between them. We spoke about what happened after 120 when the soul separated the body. So we said the body of everyone going to the ground. The soul goes upstairs to give a report about the action and the things that this particular soul did with its body during the time that they were in this world. So at the day of death, there is a judgment on this particular soul, where this soul going from now on. And we spoke about a few options. We spoke a little bit about this. I mean, the main thing is to get to Gan Eden, to the Garden of Eden, which is not the ultimate reward. That will be in Olam Haba, in the world to come. This is a different thing. But if the soul is clean, meaning if this person did everyone doing good things and not good things during the time that they were here in this world, but if the wrong things, the wrong choices was fixed, and it could be fixed by tshuva, let's say, meaning when you regret it and do the entire process of what's called tshuva, those the impact of those wrong action are erased from your account. If someone didn't do tshuva, so when at the day of the death, the souls go upstairs with all the action, the good ones and the not good ones. And even if this person has many good actions, many good things, this soul could not go to the Garden of Eden with even one debt. So the soul has to pay the debts. So we spoke about three systems: the suffering that occurred during the lifetime of this person, the actual way of death, and there are many options. We spoke about 903, if you remember. And if after those two, meaning three, either tshuva, suffering, and death, still there are some actions that was wrong that still is there, even if this person has a lot of merit, this soul could not go into Gan Eden, to the Garden of Eden, until it's going to pay the entire debt. So there is another system, we spoke about it last time, called Gehinom, which is a washing machine. That it's a spiritual place. There is no connection whatsoever to what the Christians called hell. It's something completely different. And the purpose of it is to clean out all the stains, quote, quote, that are in this account. So this process is in a spiritual punishment to the neshama, to the soul. And it takes max of 12 months. And after this 12 months, with whatever things was included in this process of cleaning up the stains, quote, quote, that this soul has, after 12 months, everything is clean. And this soul go with its merit to Gan Eden. And again, the Garden of Eden is not the ultimate reward. It's just a place to be until the resurrections of the dead, Chiyat HaMeitim, at the end of the 6,000. So another two options that are aside from either go straight to Gan Eden or go to Gan Eden after being 12 months in Gehinom. There are another two, and I'll start today with one of them, and this is the reincarnation. Reincarnation. Now we have to know, reincarnation is a very problematic concept to explain because of two things. Number one, there are many details for it, many rules, But the major problem that I find with this, relating to this topic, is the fact that in many other cultures, this concept of reincarnation mentioned by the Hindus, by the others, there are. So why it's a problem? Because the information, from my experience, the information that people knows, quote, about reincarnation, I'm talking about Jews, most of this information is not from Jewish sources. And when we try to learn it from the Jewish point of view, so many terms that we're going to use, you have to know that anything that you know about it before could confuse you, because it's not taken from Jewish sources. So let's speak about the concept. And the concept is very complicated. We'll explain why later. So let's just put the major differences or major principles that mentioned in Jewish sources. Jewish sources, I mean, mostly in the Kabbalah. The Zohar mentioned this concept in few places. One of the major places are in Parashat Mishpatim, in the beginning of Parashat Mishpatim in Sefer Shmot. When in the pshat of the pasuk, you have to know that all the deep concepts are based on the verses, the simple verses. So we mentioned that there is pshat, remez, drash, and sod. There is a simple understanding, the hint, the drash, the demand, and the secret. Now, where in Parashat Mishpatim it's mentioned, very interesting place. In the first topic that discussed in Parashat Mishpatim, it says the following: "V'chi yimkor ish et bito le'ama, lo tetzeh ketzet ha'avadim." So it speaks over there about a slave in the beginning, and later, right after that, it speaks about a lady slave, a little girl, lady slave, that her father was poor, and he has no choice but to sell her for being a slave. Of course, with this very specific, very high standard conditions. It's not what we think about slave, but you have to learn it in the Torah. Anyways, that's the pshat. So the Zohar take this concept and with it explain something amazing. He said the following: "V'chi yimkor ish et bito le'ama." The ish is a Kadosh Baruch Hu, is Hashem, is God. Not in the simple level, in the hint level, in the secret level. Bito, who is the Bito? Who is the daughter of God? This is the soul. A soul of every human being is a daughter of God. This is the way the Zohar called it. Now, why the soul? What is the purpose of the soul of everyone? To come to this world to work. Like the slave working, right? Lo tetzeh ketzet ha'avadim. The soul is not going out after completing its mission in this world like Avadim. So that's the place where the Zohar started to discuss this concept. Now, the principles. First of all, and here are the differences between Judaism concept of reincarnation to the other ideas that you ever heard from probably many sources that not Jewish. So, according to Judaism, reincarnation is not a must-be thing. Meaning, not every neshama, every soul that left a body in this world, automatically going back to a different body and reincarnates. It's one option of three, or four, as we said. A soul that completes its mission in this world go to Gan Eden, to the Garden of Eden. If this soul need to fix few things, could be done by suffering the way of death, tshuva, and Yinon. And after that, this soul go to Gan Eden. It's not coming back to this world. But there are souls that all of this is not enough, and I'll explain later what that means. And this soul has to come back to this world in a different body. So it's an option. It's not must be, it's an option. Now, when the soul comes to this world again, it could be for many reasons. The major two, and when I say the major two, it means that there are 3, 4, 5, 6. But the major two reasons why a soul will come to this world again, after it was in the body of someone, will come again in a different body. Two major reasons. And they are different from each other. Reason number one, to fix wrong actions that this soul made with the first body in this world, in the first lifetime. So the way to fix it is not enough by suffering or other ways to fix it, but this soul has to come back again and get a chance and be in a situation that this soul will get a chance to fix what this soul has from former lifetime. So that's one reason. The other reason is different from this, and we could say in the following way. Let's say the soul has a potential of 100%, and out of those 100%, the soul with the former body actualized, let's say, 90%, 70%, 60%. So at the end of the former lifetime, it was a potential that never actualized. This potential will come back. Only this potential out of the entire neshama, out of the entire soul. And in this case, we're not talking about a punishment. We're talking about a mission that was not fulfilled. It's not a punishment. It's not to fix things. It's just to fulfill something that didn't get the chance to, or that didn't do in the former lifetime. Okay? Now, in both cases, when the soul is reincarnate, not the entire soul is reincarnate, only the things that need either fixing or actualize the potential. Now, there are more reasons, but let's relate to those two. Now, what happened in this case? Let's see how Ramchal, I'm sorry again, it's in Hebrew, I'll translate the things that will be relevant. How Ramchal summarized this in his famous book, The Way of God, Derech Hashem. So, in the second chapter, the second part, in chapter 3, he says the following: עוד שורש אחד נמצא להנהגה בענייני העולם הזה. Another root are directing the way God managed this world. והוא שהחוכמה העליונה סדרה להרבות עוד ההצלה, כמו שהתבאר, שנשמה אחת תבוא לעולם הזה פעמים שונות בגופים שונים. So he summarized the information in the Kabbalah. He said clearly that there is such a thing, that one soul could come to a different body. Okay? ועל ידי זה, הנה תוכל לתקן בפעם אחת את אשר קלקלה בפעם אחרת. And he mentioned here both reasons that I mentioned before. The first one is to fix in the second time something that went wrong, that this soul chose wrong in the former life. Okay? So this is one option. Or להשלים מה שלא השלימה. Or to fulfill something that this soul has a potential but never actualized. ואולם, בסוף כל הגלגולים, לדין של העתיד לבוא, and after all those options of their reincarnation, at the end of their history, הנה הדין יהיה עליה כפי כל מה שעבר עליה מן הגלגולים שנתגלגלה ומן המצבים שהייתה בהם. So when the end of the 6,000 years, meaning the time that God gave to this world, the world of work, the world of free choice, will end, and will be the judgment day for what's gonna, who of the people that was in this world will continue to the world to come. Each soul will take in account for the judgment to decide if this soul has a portion in the world to come, everything that happened, even the former reincarnation that this soul was. והנה, אפשר שיגיעו עניינים לאדם שנשמתו מגולגלת, could be, I don't know what's wrong with it. Maybe the batteries are not good. Not sure actually. Okay. So, you know what? Until it will be fixed maybe, I will try to say something that many people ask. And I think I mentioned that in the former classes, but it's relevant to here. So, people could ask, if one soul could come during the history in different bodies. And it's mentioned, as I said, in the Zohar, and here the Ramchal bringing it over here. What will be at the end of days? What will be the judgment? And will be the resurrections of the dead at the end, right? This soul that was in few bodies, to which body is this soul gonna go?
Right.
The first one, the last one, the best one, and how many times the soul could be reincarnated. So there are not exact rules about this. There is a verse, there is a pasuk in Sefer Iyov. It says that relate to this idea of reincarnation, and the verse says, "Hen kol ele yif'al kel pa'amayim shalosh im gaver." This option of reincarnation could be twice or three times. But we know from I know from other sources in the Kabbalah that it could be more than that. Could be more than that. But either way, we have to understand, okay, the soul were 1,000 years ago by someone, let's say Reuven. And another 500 years after that, this soul came to Shimon. And with each one of those bodies, the soul were, let's say, for 80 years, for 90, for 120 years. Now comes the time of the resurrections of the dead, which is one of the 13 principles in Judaism. ונאמן אתה להחיות מתים, ברוך אתה השם מחיי המתים. We say it every day 3 times in prayer. The soul will go to which body? So we mentioned this question before here. You remember? You were ready to this? No. So be ready to hear the most amazing thing that you ever heard. For many, many years, this question bothering me, but it's bothered everyone. I mean, you have those 2 principles. That there is such a thing called Tchiyat HaMetim, that the soul will return to the body will rebuild the way it was exactly when this person used to be alive, and the soul will come back into it, and they both will stand for judgment at the Yom Adin HaGadol VaHaNorah to decide if they have portion in the world to come, yes or no. This is very major principle in Judaism. It's one of the 13 principles. But here we learn, and it's mentioned in the Kabbalah, in the Zohar, and the other places, that the neshama could come to more than one body. So the question is, to what body? And what will be with the other's body? Let's say you decide, the first one, the second one, the best one, the last one. What will be with the rest? They will have no soul, so they will not get up, or at the resurrections of the dead, they will not come up. So this question bothered me for many, many years. And I heard about it many, many answers. And the common denominators of all the answers, that I was not happy with them. So it still bothered me until one day, without looking for answers to this particular question, learning Tanakh I learned one verse that gave me, and I'll share it with you, the best answer for this question. One of the books that King Solomon wrote for us, King Solomon was the one that the Tanakh says about him that he was the most wise person ever. Hashem gifted him, God gifted him to become the Vayechka mikol ha'adam. He was the smart, wise person ever. No one before him and no one after him will be wise like him. God gave him this gift. So he wrote for us, he was very kind to leave for us summarize of his wisdom. He wrote for us in the Tanakh 3 books. Kohelet, Shir HaShirim, and Mishlei. Those 3 books. Those books are amazing books because the wisdom telling you things about life. You, everyone want to learn. The books are there, just read them. In chapter, I think it's chapter 27, verse 20, or vice versa, but I'm almost sure it's 27, verse 20. He says the following. He speaks about, and it's Sefer Mishlei. Mishlei is the translation of the word Mishlei. Meshalim are parables. When you use parables, when you want to understand something very abstract, very deep, very delicate for the thinking to really grasp it and understand it, because it's so deep and so abstract, you could use a parable. What is a parable? An example from everyday life that you could relate to, that there is some similarity between the example to the real thing, right? So the entire book of Mishlei are full of those examples. It's not the way it is. This is just parables that you have to learn what that actually teach you. Okay? So over there he wants to teach us about the soul. What is the soul? Everyone wants to know. What is the soul? What is it? We know that we have a soul. We're saying, Modeh ani lefanecha shechazarta bi nishmati. You gave me my soul. Elokai neshama shenatata bi teorai. We say this every morning, right? But we do not know what is this. When you look at yourself in the mirror, you do not see your soul, you see your body. The soul is there, but you do not know what is it. So King Solomon wants to teach us something about the soul. And because a soul is a spiritual thing, spiritual entity, it's abstract. In order for you to understand what Shlomo HaMelech wants to teach you, he used a parable. Now, be concentrated, it's deep, but it could be explained if you really pay attention to everything. He took the soul, and the parable that he finds in this world, something that we could relate to, is a flame of a candle. Flame of a candle. And he says the following, Ner Hashem Nishmat Adam. The soul of the person is like the flame of a candle of God. So from everything in this world, he took a flame of a candle. Now, again, here are the deep stuff. What we have to know is the following. I'll give you 2 rules, but it's a necessity to understand the rules in order to understand what Shlomo HaMelech wants to say. When Hashem created the world is a combination of 2 things. Bereshit bara Elokim et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. Shamayim is the spiritual dimension in the universe. Haaretz is the physical dimension in the universe. That was on the first day of the creation. This is the beginning of the creation, the spiritual dimension, the physical of the universe. Then, at the 6th day of the creation, he created a miniature universe, which is a human being. When Hashem created a human being, how it's described in the Torah, Vayitzer Hashem Elokim et ha'adam afar min ha'adama, dust from earth, and what is this? The body. Vayipach be'apav nishmat chaim, and he put into it a soul. So a human being is a miniature universe. He includes in him the body and the soul. Now, God created a human being, an intelligent creature, meaning that he could look at the world around him and try to understand it. And he has an ability to understand it to some degree. Now, how we know about the world around us? Two ways. We have the five senses, the ability to see, to hear, to touch, to feel, right? To smell, and to taste. Those are the five senses. With those five senses, actually those five senses are tubes or tools that connect the world outside of us to our conscious, to our ability to verify them. Now, those five senses are physical, all of them. Therefore, they could give you a sense of the physical dimension of the universe, right? You see objects, you touch objects. What's the problem? The universe includes in it more than physical. Also, there is a spiritual. The spiritual could not be touched by the physical vision or physical ability to hear, because you could see, hear, touch physical stuff. How do you know about the non-physical stuff in the universe around you? Not through the senses, but through the mind, the thinking. You could realize spirituality not through the senses, because the senses are good only to connect you with the physical elements in the universe. Okay? Now, the other rule is the following. Everything, every element in the universe that you could connect it to through one or more than your physical senses, by definition, it's physical. Right? So remember this rule. Rule number 2, every physical element in the universe is limited by time and space. We spoke about this a few times in the past. Let me just make the implication of this. Every physical element has room in order to exist. No physical element could be in two places at the same time. No physical element could be in no place in one given time. Therefore, the place is the frame. The space is the frame for the physical to exist. Very important. In the time scale, we have past, present, and future. All the physical elements in the universe exist on this timeline only on one point, which is the present. The past is over. The future is not here yet. What you have is the now. And again, it's a limitation. Why? Because no physical element could be now, 5 minutes ago, and 10 minutes ahead in the same time. You are limited to be now. You're limited to be here. So here and now are the limits of every physical element. Okay, you got this rule? Now let's continue, and here it starts to be really deep. A soul that we want to verify, or Shlomo HaMelech wants to teach us, is not physical. Therefore, don't expect to see the soul in your physical eyes. Don't expect to feel the soul with your ability to touch, because it's not physical. So in order to really understand something, we need a parable. This parable is from the world that we could feel, touch. What Shlomo HaMelech chose? A flame of a candle. Now look at the flame of a candle. Take a candle, light it, small, nice flame, right? What do you see about this flame? Few things. First of all, it always goes up. It goes up. If you take a stone, it falls down, but the flame goes always up. In the flame, you have few colors, right? But that's not enough in order to explain to understand what I want to explain. According to the rules that I just mentioned before, is a flame of a candle physical? The answer is yes. It's visual, you could see it, right? With your flesh eyes, with your physical eyes, you could see it. So we said anything that you could feel or sense with one of your physical senses, by definition is physical, right? So it's physical. You could see it, you could touch it. Recommended not for a long time because you're going to get burned, but you could touch it. You could see it. Any physical things, remember the rule, are always limited by time. But here's the amazing thing. Take a candle, light a flame. You'll find a small little flame, you could see it. It's coming from here to here, you can measure it. Yes. Now take another candle with no flame and get closer to the flame and take out, separate. You'll get a new flame. You'll get a new flame, right? This flame, where this flame came from? From the original one, right? The amazing thing is that you could take one flame and out of it light 100 candles, million candles. You could take one small little flame and make out of it a big fire. And where's this fire came? From the original. But the outcome could be bigger than the original. And if you will take out the original, after you separate the other candles, each one of them is independent by itself. It's not connected. Or if you, again, take out the first one or the original one, it will not influence the others. And here's something very, very unusual. Why? If I take a bottle of water, we can see the water. Is water physical? Yes. Take an empty cup, pour from the original, from the bottle. Could you move the water to the cup? Yes. But what will be must? What must happen? Any drop that comes to the cup will be missing from the bottle. The drop could not be in both places. And this is true for every physical element, but a flame. You could take the same flame, separate it to many, many flames, and the original will stay in the same original way, in the same original shape. So it could be divided and divided and divided, and no problem with this. But we said that the flame, according to the rule, is physical. And if it's physical, it could not be in two places in the same place, in the same time. Right? So here's the parable. There are ways, technically, physically, scientifically, to understand why the flame could be divided and divided and divided. But that's not the point. This is just a parable. The main thing is think that this is a parable of it, and this is the neshama, this is the soul. So according to this, you could understand this amazing question. You remember what the question we asked? Soul. This soul was by one person. Then, after this person passed away, the soul separated the body, and the same soul go to a different body, and to a different body. So the question is, at the end, the soul will return to which body? The answer, according to what I just said, is to everyone. Because the soul is like the flame. It could be separated to many, many bodies. Imagine again, the candle is the body. The flame is the soul. So you could use many bodies with the same soul. And actually, it's not the same. The original is the same, but when it's divided, as we said, if you will take out the original, the other ones still will stay by themselves. Because it's true that it came from it, but since it's separated, it becomes independent. So this is the most amazing answer about this question, because there is no problem. Soul is not physical. Only physical. If it's here, it's not there. But the soul is not physical. If it's not physical, it could be divided to endless candles, endless bodies. Amazing answer, right? For me, it's the best answer. That gives hope first for everyone, and it explains it. It was here, but since it's separated, and again, I remember what I mentioned, I want to remind you what I mentioned in the beginning. When there is a reincarnation, not the entire soul going to the next life, only the parts that relevant, either to fix or either to actualize their potential. Therefore, it's like the flame of the original flame that divide and divide and divide, and at the end, everyone, it's okay, it's right that they come from the same source, but since they're separated, they have their independence. Okay?
Cool.
Yeah, I know. I told you that you're gonna like this because it's very. It bothered me for a really long time until I got this answer. And again, not by looking for this particular question, answer for this. Okay. I don't know.
So it's going to come to the original sources? That flame, it's going to go back to that original source where it came from?
Okay, look at what it says over here. הנה, ואולם בסוף כל הגלגולים, at the end, לדין של העתיד לבוא, הנה הדין יהיה עליה כפי כל מה שעבר עליה מן הגלגולים. It will take into account everything that this soul went through, but still each person I mean this particular body in this particular soul, is independent.
Yeah, but again, for reincarnation means two flames get mixed up. Imagine one flame is red, another flame is blue. Means the blue mixed to the red.
The thing is that we do not know what soul is. And we just imagine. And what Shlomo Melech teaches us is not giving us a complete understanding of what Neshama is. He just gives us certain angle to understand it, but we do not really understand. We could not really understand spiritual entities. We could the most that we could understand is physical, because it's limited by time and space. It could be defined. Therefore, you could be really expect to understand. This don't expect to understand completely.
But your minds can understand because your soul is in your mind, kind of. So if your minds can imagine, because it's come from HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Yeah, but still, the imagination is limited, and the ability to think is limited, and we should know it, because that will make us more humble. We think we know everything, or we could know everything. We are just living in.
Yeah, but our soul is connected to the God, which is unlimited. So we have the unlimited aspect in ourselves.
True.
The way that we know.
True, but the way you understand
unlimited is that because we have understanding concept of unlimited is because of soul, because of we connect to the God.
Yeah, so the potential is there, but actually you cannot really work with it, because your mind. Let's differentiate between the mind and the brain. The brain is the computer. The mind is you who work in the computer. But imagine that this computer is limited. So you could be even more genius, but that's what this machine could produce. Not more than that. And that's the situation. So the neshama is really great and big, but the ability to really understand when the neshama is in the body through the brain is limited. Okay, let's continue. Now, so he continually says that at the end of days, all those souls will summarize the entire thing that they went through during the history. Now he said something that we should remember. והנה פרטי בחינות רבות יימצאו בעניין זה של הגלגול. This reincarnation concept has many details, many aspects. So, and he continues and says, ואין בברואים ידיעה שתוכל לכלול מחשבותיו להתברך שמו ועומק עצתו. So he said over here, don't expect as a creature of God to understand those aspects or those details of the soul, but everything is done very accurately by God, and He knows. He's the only one who knows exactly the details of all of those things. We know one thing about Him. הצור תמים פועלו כי כל דרכיו משפט. Everything is according to the complete absolute justice. And all of this is above our ability to understand. So what we could understand, we have to understand. What we could understand, that there is such a thing. Expecting understanding everything is not realistic. Not because there are no order. There is an order. It's above our tools, which is our mind and our brain, to really accept, to really understand. But there is such a thing. So this is another option that could come. And again, there are so many details, like a question if a souls could be reincarnated only in human beings, or maybe by animals too, or by plants, or by even inanimate elements. So the answer is yeah, could be, but not for fixing. There are, again, depend what is the reason. If the reason is to fix something, not a punishment, but to actuate a potential, it must be going to a human being, because only human being is a free choice or is a free willer that could fix. If it goes to other animals, let's say plants and other stuff, they have no free choice. So in all these cases is punishment. It's not to fix, because there is no free will. Okay, so there are few rules that we could understand, but not the entire thing. So this is one thing. So there is such an option too. Now, which soul gonna be reincarnated and which is not? We have no way to know. This is the job of the court upstairs to decide after 120 that this soul is staying in Garden of Eden or reincarnates. We do not know the rules, but the court that decide about it upstairs knows. Okay. Now there is another thing, and I don't know if we'll have time today to really relate to it. Let's see, what is the time now? You know what, I think, and this is the sling, this is the thing called kafakela. Because there is so many amazing details that we could and should learn about it, I don't think it will be a good idea to squeeze it for now. So we'll do it.
How long is gonna say? We can spend another half an hour.
I have another class to give. And I think this is, this is enough information to digest for a week until next week, Bezrat Hashem, and then we'll dedicate a whole class for the sling stuff. Okay? But today we spoke about these things, and I mentioned again, the first option is Garden of Eden. The other option is cleaning in Gehinom and then going to Garden of Eden. And the third is reincarnation. So you have to know that there is such a thing. It's different than what you know about it from different other sources, outside sources. I gave here what we could give from the Jewish sources. But there is another thing, which is not Garden of Eden, not Gehinom, and not reincarnation, but this is something that probably is the worst thing for the soul, and this is the sling. The sling meaning kafakela. We'll speak about this in another shiur next week, Bezrat Hashem.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mazal.
Let's go into.
it's so beautiful the way how you